We begin tonight with breaking news on the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. The sheriff tonight revealing DNA evidence recovered from a glove about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home does not match anyone in the federal criminal database. But tonight they are still looking at DNA found at Nancy Guthrie's home. That was not Nancy Guthrie's DNA or anyone in the family. And the sheriff now suggesting that with that DNA found at the home, they will now go beyond the criminal database and to some of the family genealogy DNA collected across this country. Now, tonight, the other key part of this investigation remains the video at that front door. Law enforcement sources now telling ABC News that investigators are now trying to identify the gun and holster. They already know the backpack and perhaps some of the clothing, trying to see if the man bought any of it at Walmart. And the FBI also now canvassing gun shops in the Tucson area, hoping to find where the gun and holster were sold. And the search for any signal from Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker. We have learned tonight authorities have been using technology carried in drones overhead, capable of locating any possible signal from Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker, but nothing so far. ABC's chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky leading us off from Tucson again tonight.
Tonight, 16 days into the search for Nancy Guthrie, DNA found on a glove 2 miles from her home is not a match. Authorities confirming tonight the DNA lifted from that glove did not match any of the 22 million samples, mostly from criminals, in the FBI's national database. And law enforcement sources tell ABC News the DNA sample also did not match DNA found on Nancy Guthrie's property, which was not hers or anyone in her family. That DNA is still undergoing analysis. As of tonight, DNA on the glove is getting investigators nowhere.
The glove has always been a long shot in my view, but having said that, it's another piece of potential evidence that can only become relevant, basically, if and when you develop a viable suspect.
Authorities continue to test that unknown DNA found at the property, and tonight the sheriff in the case is suggesting they'll go beyond the criminal database and look at family genealogy that's been cataloged all over the country, saying we believe that we may have some DNA there that may be our suspect, and there are other resources like private genealogical companies that we will look into. Investigators also remain focused on the best evidence they have so far, the video retrieved from Nancy Guthrie's doorbell camera of the masked suspect at the front door armed with a pistol. The FBI's been visiting gun shops all over Tucson. The owner of this one told us the investigators were in the other day asking if there were any suspicious customers or sales of a holster that looked like the one on Nancy Guthrie's doorbell camera video. The holster, the mask, the jacket. The sheriff says those items, like this Ozark Trail Hiker Pack backpack, may have been purchased at Walmart. Authorities say they're working with Walmart to see if any of their cameras or receipts could lead to anyone of interest.
It could be a lead to Walmart. It could be a lead to a gun shop. It could be a lead on anything, DNA, whatever. They chase it down.
It was 2:28 that Sunday morning when investigators say Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker app disconnected from her phone, which was left behind at the house. Tonight, we've learned for days, searchers have been using technology called Blue Fly in drones that can help detect any possible signals from her pacemaker. That technology is also in helicopters and carried by investigators on foot. So far, no signs of the pacemaker. And while authorities have presented no new evidence that Nancy Guthrie was targeted because of her high-profile daughter or for any other reason, the sheriff telling Fox News it remains his hunch she was in some way targeted, that this wasn't random.
I believe it was a kidnapping.
Targeted kidnapping.
Yes, I believe whoever did that knew what they were up to.
So do you believe
knew who they were after?
And with authorities now formally clearing Nancy Guthrie's family, her children and their spouses, of any involvement in her disappearance, the sheriff tonight is speaking of the toll misinformation and speculation has taken on the Guthries.
That family is suffering. They are hurting. And there's no justification for saying some of the things that were said out there in the media and social media. Just none. And I'm not going to tolerate it.
Right now, David, all investigators really seem to have is the DNA sample found here at Nancy Guthrie's property and the doorbell camera video of the suspect. The authorities are trying to identify everything the man is seen wearing in that video and trace where he bought it. David?
Aaron Katersky leading us off in Tucson tonight. Aaron, thank you.